Yeah, Detroit, Rock City. Meatfoot. Well, it was one of my nicknames on tour because I got drunk and put my foot in a pastrami sandwich. This is Ivy.
And this is Gidget.
And you're listening to
Slut Shame This.
Hi guys, I missed you after taking a week off. Today we're going to try something a little different. I don't know if you guys have noticed Kevin. We interact briefly here and there. He is the man behind Slut Shame This. He records, edits, makes us sound so polished, and he wrote our intro song. And also I've known Kevin for a very long time. We used to tour together when I was a makeup artist, and I thought it would be fun to kind of chat with Kevin about long distance relationships and being on tour and staying in a healthy, lasting relationship, because I don't know about you guys, but I have a thing for artists and musicians, and they always seem to be away. Kevin has maintained a relationship since I've known him, and he's been gone a lot of that time. So, hi, Kevin.
Hi. Hello. Oh my gosh, it's weird to be on this side of the glass.
You're here.
So to speak.
You're here. How long have you been touring for?
Been touring for 15 years, roughly, which makes me old.
Amazing. So you've got some time under your belt.
Yes.
And you've toured with all kinds. You want to just
all
tell
kinds of
us
people,
about what kind of experience you have?
Yeah, I mean, the names that people would know is my old band, The Virgins. Toured with a lot of indie artists that people maybe wouldn't know so much. Briefly toured with Miranda Cosgrove, shout out, from iCarly.
Okay, great.
Yeah, really all over the map. And then more recently with Mike Posner, who is awesome and
just finished walking around the
Walking Across
States.
America.
Yeah.
Which is like, we could do a whole podcast on that. I think he's probably done another podcast on it. But he just finished walking from New Jersey, I believe, to California.
Incredible. So can you just talk about maybe just generally what it was like to get married and then just go on tour? Yeah,
I mean, I think, let me preface this by saying that, like, previous relationships I've had, people would always say, oh, I'm so cool with, musicians and touring, and wow, that's so exciting. And it rarely worked. People would like certain parts of me, coming to shows and traveling and all that, but wouldn't really accept the fact that that is a difficult lifestyle to maintain and difficult to be away from each other, for long stretches at a time. So previous relationships were really difficult with that. But when I met Jessica and our relationship in general, both very independent people. And even when we're together now, I'm home from touring a lot more and doing the podcast and hanging out with the cats. We obviously live together and our lives are very intertwined, but we're also very independent people. And I think that's a huge part of it, is enjoying having, separate lives, but bringing them together. I think concrete things that we did were, we decided early on that we were never going to be away more than 3 weeks at a time. We're never going to go more than 3 weeks at a time without seeing each other.
Okay, so if you were going to be gone for 6 weeks, you would either fly her out or pop back into LA for a visit.
Yeah, typically with touring, and this because we toured a lot together,
Yeah.
I would be flying her out because I wasn't able to dictate, hey,
You can't just leave whenever.
hey, multi-platinum artist, can you pause your tour for a second
For
so
my
I can
marriage.
go home and hang out with my wife and have sex or whatever? Maybe if you're in, Motley Crue or whatever, you could do that. Although that might be another
I think
story
that's a whole
altogether.
different story. It's interesting that you mentioned that people like certain parts of the idea of being with a musician, but they can't really handle the realities, because I feel like I relate heavily to that. Being a sex worker is the same thing with people. It's like super cool until they realize that I have sex with other people for a living. And then it's like, wait, no, I want the fantasy, but let's skip the reality.
Exactly. I mean, that's a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's an issue in a lot of relationships that I see in general, like friends of mine, where they describe these scenarios where they're like, oh, this person, they're really happy with me when things are good, or they're really happy when I'm successful in my job, or, you know, whatever. And then as soon as you hit a stumbling block, or as soon as there's something that's fundamental to who you are that exposes itself, you know, why are you gone all the time? Or you know, oh, I'm so jealous you're fucking all these other people. And you're like, yeah, you knew that going in, you know? So I think that's a good thing to notice and be aware of in general, is that, like, if you're going to be with somebody, you have to accept all of them, all of who they are, and not just like, it's not an a la carte. You know?
You don't get to piece it to, like, choose your own plate, you know, like, we're not tender greens.
Yeah, it's the pre-fee. You're getting the pre-fee. You're getting all of the stuff, whether you're full or not.
Exactly.
To pull this metaphor.
I'm like, just bringing up food metaphors. I'm like, it's not McDonald's. You can't have it your way.
I think that's Burger King.
Sponsored
by.
Oh my God, sponsored by whomever.
Sponsored by fast food.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people I know have, you know, dated musicians or just tried long distance relationships. So say you are independent and you can handle the time away. What are some tips you might have for people to keep it interesting when they can't see each other?
Interesting. Well, I'll just say this here. I've never done phone sex or like, I mean, I've never done like traditional phone sex, like
on the phone.
Baby, let's, you know, tell me, you know, whatever.
But do you sext?
I, as a Gen Xer, I have never sent a dick pic ever.
Oh my God. There's no pictures of your dick floating around on the internet? Or in the cloud?
I mean, maybe. None that I've taken and sent.
Okay.
I'll put it that way.
But there could be some in existence somewhere.
Hey, you know, I used to be in a rock band back in the day. You never know. Alcohol is crazy.
Alcohol is super crazy. But I think what's even crazier than alcohol is the fact that you've never sent a dick pic.
You know, it's funny. I feel like I've just been around enough women when they've received dick pics or just like heard tangentially of like all the, you know, wow, can you believe, let me see it, you know, can you believe this guy sent this? And then like just the roasting of the person and the dick.
Yes.
So I think
once a dick pic is sent, it is subject to a lot of BTS scrutiny.
And fair enough, like
an
unsolicited dick pic, which is probably 90% of dick pics are unsolicited.
I was going to say unsolicited. I've definitely received some dick pics that I'm like, this is bomb. Thank you so much. I'm saving this.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Really?
With guys I'm like into for sure.
Do you have a separate folder for
No,
eggplant folder?
I forget that I have some of them. Like I was scrolling through my phone and I was like, whose dick is this? I was like, oh, that guy I was dating this summer.
Just like scattered in between.
It was like in between selfies and screenshots. It's like all screenshot memes and then selfies for my promotional stuff or like my social media and then screenshots.
Screenshot memes and then Izzy Fontaine.
Exactly.
Yeah. What up? What up? Shout out.
I know, dude, he's like my favorite account to follow. So total sidebar. Follow Izzy Fontaine if you want the best memes. And he puts them in his story.
Oh, yeah.
So I like to wait till I'm in bed at night and then I'll just go for like the whole thing. And like his feed on Instagram, it's just like a bunch of tiny little dots.
That's like his merch, right?
Yeah.
So getting back on topic. We never really did maybe she can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we ever did like sexting really, or definitely not like on the phone
Right.
phone sex. I just I feel cheesy when I do that.
Yeah, and if you can't get into it, you can't get into it. There's like no shame. I have never had like phone sex where I'm
I
like,
guess it's very old school, right?
talking.
It's not like millennial. It's just all emoji. You just send an eggplant.
no, I feel
and
like
then
it's
a
probably
butt.
FaceTime. Even that, I don't know. I don't know. I think I might clam up. I'd be
Yeah.
like, ooh, hi, hello. I need to
Couple drinks.
it's like a date, Like I'd have to be like, all right, let's
Yeah.
have some conversation before we start taking
You
off
just
our
subtly
clothes.
push the phone down all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So yeah, advice. I mean, I would say, obviously it's different for every person and for every couple, but try to set a schedule and stick to it. Try to say, okay, we're going to commit to talking twice a day, or if you can only do once a day, talk once a day. And I mean, that's good in general. It's not a hard and fast rule, but I always keep it in the back of my mind, even when I'm home, to make sure we don't go a whole day without a kiss, because you can fall into the same kind of distant routines when you're home.
Right.
In fact, sometimes it's easier, it
Right.
becomes mundane. You're feeding the cats.
Yeah.
You're it's
Yeah.
LA, you're in your car.
And you can be
9
like two ships passing.
two ships passing in the night.
Yeah.
She works in the restaurant business, so the hours are crazy. And there's
Yeah.
times where it's like we might only see each other for 10 minutes or something. I might be falling asleep on the couch to continue the dad theme, but I try to stay up and make sure we don't go a whole day without a kiss or just any sort of interaction. Another thing I think about a lot, and this is, I guess, maybe slightly off topic, but I try not to ever get complacent, and it's with little petty things or maybe not petty, but seemingly insignificant things. I don't ever want to just be in my sweats looking, sloppy for too many days in a row. If it's if I'm, let's
I always have to be like, you never are in your sweats. Wow.
No.
Okay.
No. I do.
Too many days in a row. Thank you for clarifying.
Listen, I do. I love sweats.
I love sweats.
As a guy who wears skinny jeans all the time and boots, I do like being comfortable. But
They make some kind of sexy sweats, and girls love gray sweatpants.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Sweatpant boner.
It's gray sweatpants season, guys.
Sponsor us, sweatpant companies. No, I guess the point I'm trying to make is it can be easy to get complacent with the way you look around each other. You get comfortable.
Yeah.
And I always, in the back of my mind, try to look good for her.
Yeah.
And I want her to think that I'm hot.
Right.
Still.
Right.
And I don't ever. And I think it's easy when you get married. You're like, well, this person just loves me. Of course they think I'm attractive. Of course they love me.
Right.
And it's of course she does, but I want to respect that. And I want to continually inspire her to be attracted to me.
Yeah. And so I feel like the answer on the road would be you're not sending a dick pic. When you feel like you're looking hot, sending a selfie and being
Yeah.
I feel like I look attractive and I want to share that with you because your opinion matters and I like to hear from you.
Something we would do actually a lot, and this is, we would FaceTime a lot actually. And I think, seeing each other's faces, and I've tried to make sure I look good. It's a hotel room and it's not the best lighting.
The lighting.
But try to make sure you look good, that kind of, so reminding the person, including the person, communicating, setting guidelines that you stick to, whether it's
and a little bit of a schedule.
As much as you can.
Yeah.
And sharing, it's hard going without sex for, a few weeks at a time. But the flip side of that is that when you do see the person,
it's super romantic.
it's super hot,
yeah.
And you're typically in a hotel room or whatever, or maybe sometimes a tour bus.
It's so exciting. It's like you've been waiting to see this person, and I feel like it can honestly keep the fire a little bit longer. Because I was in a relationship for a year of touring, and I feel like we only stayed together for that year because we had already been together for a year and it wasn't going so great. But me being gone so much gave us back a little bit of that excitement and fire. And we did start sending each other hot photos of ourselves again. And couldn't wait to see each other, and 8 sleeps until I see you again, and all that
the
shit.
Sleeps, counting the sleeps.
The sleeps,
That's such a
counting
tour
the
thing.
sleeps. It's such a touring thing.
Such a tour thing.
8 more sleeps, and like just getting all butterfly-y, and you see
Yeah.
them, and it's really exciting. So, on the other side of the coin, for some people, it could really work out really well, especially if you're really independent.
Yeah.
To keep it exciting and not fall into ruts, because it seems like ruts are more likely when you're together all the time.
Yeah. I mean, to build on that, people are always talking about jealousy as a negative thing. And of course it can be very insidious, but there is a side,
I
maybe
like that word, by the way.
insidious.
Great word choice.
Yeah. I think they made a movie called Insidious.
Yeah, and
Didn't
there's
see it.
2 of them.
But the flip side of it could be, maybe if you don't call it jealousy, but like if you're on tour or if you're in your industry, a lot of other people are finding you attractive potentially. And that can be intimidating, but it could also be exciting.
Yeah.
The little reminder that like, hey, I'm with this person and all of these other people think this person is great and
That's hot.
and would have sex with them if given the choice.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just a reframing of the way you look at it.
Yeah.
Maybe that takes a specific kind of person or a confidence, and maybe that's, building on the confidence that you have by like creating that consistency and creating good communication. But that can be really exciting,
No, I don't want to date anyone that nobody wants to fuck.
Right? Who wants that?
I mean, theoretically, it's always been told to girls, like, date an ugly dude that's going to be so stoked to have you. And I'm like, no. But in my perfect world, I would find a super hot, interesting guy that's not in LA and doesn't have Instagram.
And why is that? Because of all the Instagram models, or he's just going to be on his phone and not looking at you?
Oh, no, because we'll get into this on another episode, because I already have the whole idea planned out.
Okay.
But how Instagram has ruined dating, because I feel like it makes people think their options are endless, and that's a false idea. And when you meet someone special, you don't even realize how special that person is in front of you, because you can go on Instagram and DM any single person you want, and it's just created a totally different dating environment. Well, actually, I wanted to bring up one thing that I think is a really important part of a healthy relationship that I have yet to experience, but I've seen in others, and it's being genuinely happy for your partner when they're having a good time and not making it about you and getting jealous in an unhealthy way. It's obviously totally normal to be like, fuck, I wish I was there, or have that little twinge of like, ugh, like he's having too much fun without me. But I've seen my friends, in their relationships, when they do something independently, how happy it makes them, and then seeing their partners give them shit for that. And I think that any kind of relationship is doable if codependency isn't an issue. And that's what it kind of seems like is the case for you and Jessica, that neither of you struggle with codependency in a negative way.
Yeah, I think she's a really strong, powerful woman, which is amazing. And that's something I'm really drawn to. And I think part of that is she has her own wants and needs and, interests, and those are separate from me. And I think a big part of the two of us, those are inherent aspects of our personality. And yet we met at a time in both of our lives where we had been through all of those issues with other people, and we'd kind of like gotten through it and done the work. And that sounds like, cheesy self-helpy, but we met at the right time, I think, for us, where we both were able to exist on our own together.
Right.
If that makes sense.
And I think that's just important, whether you guys are in the same city, same apartment, same studio apartment, or a long distance relationship, and everything I've been asking Kevin and we're talking about is applicable to any kind of long distance relationship,
Yeah.
whether it be a musician on tour or you meet someone you're crazy about and they don't live in the same state and you guys have to make it work. That gets a little bit more complicated because at least with a musician, there is an end game.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're going to be home eventually.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, well, to turn it around for you, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of similar dynamics that happen with, you know, when you're dating guys or if you're, you know, interested in a woman as well, where the idea of you and, you know, who we are is so wrapped up in the work that we do. And so like the idea of you is like so exciting and, you know,
Yeah.
wow, this is like this fantasy girl.
Yeah.
But the idea of the person being so exciting, and then when you start dating that person, the things that were really exciting tend to be like, you know, people get jealous or
Right.
or they can't handle it. Or, I mean, what experiences have you had where, you know, a guy's really turned on by the idea that you're in porn, and
Yeah.
then the nuts and bolts of like the day-to-day life happen, and then they get jealous? I mean, you know, how do you deal with that?
Haven't dated seriously since I've been in porn, because I'm fearful of that. And I'm so focused on my career that I can't bear to fall for someone and then have them do a bait and switch and then end up resenting everything I do, because I am a hopeless romantic and I would drop the job for a guy.
Right.
And I'm not ready for that. However, as most of you may know, before porn, I also was a stripper, even while I was a makeup artist. And that's where I experienced a lot of that, because I would meet a guy and I would tell him. I never kept it a secret. And I would even be like, come see me at the club. Like, it's fun. It's not that crazy.
And was that ever weird for you? Or was it kind of hot?
backfired. It backfired. Yeah, I thought that they were going to think it was fun and sexy and see how like lame all the other dudes were in there. And I don't know, they would maybe think it's hot to see me up on stage, and then we could like go home and have like hot, weird sex. I don't know, like pretend we met that night. I don't know. I was like, you know, this could be
fantasy.
fun.
Yeah.
And instead, most of the times, they would fixate on like one thing. Like, I remember my ex, and he was like, I just hated seeing all those guys throwing dollars at you. So disrespectful. I'm like, that's literally what a strip club is.
And you're like, that's how I'm getting paid, dude. It's not a check. It's not a personal check.
I'm acquiring dollars. I don't know why that's so upsetting for you.
Would you rather they threw credit cards? I mean, maybe.
Yeah, it might hurt, but you know, as long as I can get a swipe in before I have to give it back.
Yeah, max that shit out.
I did see a pattern regardless. Either I was fetishized for what I did, which is still kind of happening now. And I think that a lot of people, they just see the fantasy. So I haven't had the chance to like actually give my 2 cents about being in my 30s and being in porn and having a lot stronger stance, because the stuff I'm bringing up is when I was in my early 20s and I was a lot more susceptible to bullshit.
I mean, we all were. It's like you're susceptible to bullshit until you're not.
Yeah, well, yeah, you kind of have to be to have it all rained on you, and then you now you know how to spot it, because you're like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah, you're like, I mean, that's another thing that I feel pretty strongly about just in general with relationships, because I see this with a lot of friends where they're like, well, this person they're nice to me and it's okay or whatever. And I'm like, you know, you don't have to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like that's like a dumb thing to say, but it bears repeating because I see it happen all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I think
they're called situationships now.
Oh, really?
It's like people just finding themselves in situations and just kind of being like, this is fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big part of it. And to bring it back to, you know, my relationship, I think Jessica and I are in a relationship, in a marriage, because we want to be. You know, because we want to be together, and it's not like, well, I'll just do this because I'm this, you know, whatever. I got into my 30s and was like, well, I guess I should get married now. And it was like, I had gotten out of a long relationship and didn't want to. I was like, well, I'll just be single forever now. Who cares? You know what I mean? And then ironically, that's when you meet.
Yeah.
When you meet the right person, because you're open to it for the right reasons. So
yeah. To wrap up the idea of what it's like to have a successful relationship while being on the road. Is there any advice, tips that you would like to give our listeners if they're trying to maintain a relationship that has strenuous conditions like being away from each other, which I think it is strenuous, right?
It's hard, and we had to figure it out. But I mean, it's a huge credit to her that it really is what you were saying, where my whatever success I was having at the time, she wasn't jealous of that.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go off and do all these exciting things, and that makes her sad because she doesn't get to come along. It was like, oh, I'm really happy for you. And I think that's a testament to somebody really caring about you instead of just being interested in the idea of you.
And not having someone make everything about your relationship about themselves.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of like the basis for negativity, is taking, your accomplishments and your life outside of them and somehow twisting it to like be about them.
Yeah.
Whichever way they can, which is often negative because, if you can't get the positive, let's get the negative.
Type O negative, that is.
Forever. So I feel like when we've been discussing your life on the road and how to make a relationship work, it's been all under the context of you being in your healthy, happy marriage that you are in currently. But you've been a touring musician long before, Jessica.
Oh, yeah.
Your band was The Virgins?
That's right.
Hell yeah. My friend posted a song of yours in his story recently, and I was like, that's my friend Kevin.
Yeah.
So when because you were actually like a member of that band, and you guys were like cool and hot, and
we tried,
and it was part of like that really trendy music of the time. Like, I don't know, what was it kind of like?
Yeah, it was like 2008, 2009, like The Strokes, Franz Ferdinand.
Yeah, I was gonna say Franz Ferdinand vibes.
The Killers were kind of coming out.
So, and you were in a relationship then, or you were in and out?
In and out, yeah. I mean, that's a long story, but I was in a not healthy relationship.
Okay.
I've learned a lot of lessons.
So then how did you deal with temptation? Because I feel like in that scenario, you were faced with it a lot more.
Yeah. I mean, I was a lot younger. I was in an unhealthy relationship. I wasn't always faithful in that scenario. I tried to be.
So what were some of your tactics to try to be? Avoid at all costs?
Yeah, avoid. I mean, and that's actually a really good, piece of advice now, is that like, just in general, I mean, if there's a situation where you feel out of control, remove yourself from it.
Absolutely. I feel like people that are putting themselves in temptation's way are setting themselves up for failure, and maybe even kind of want to fail or want the excuse to fail.
I mean, there you go. Exactly. Like, there is a cliche to all of it, which is like being in your early 20s, being in a quote unquote rock band or whatever popular band, touring, traveling the world, having access to, alcohol, drugs, and whatever. And in my case, women, people that want to have sex with you. And it's not always easy to turn that down. It's not, you don't always want to. Sometimes it's nice to just take the excuse and do it.
Of course.
If you go into it with your eyes wide open, or if you're whatever, just make your peace with that, and in hindsight, this might be a shitty thing to say, but in hindsight, I don't regret any of it all. I'm like, I wish I had taken advantage of those other opportunities. And that doesn't maybe sound great in the light of day, but at the same time, whatever. I was in a relationship. I shouldn't have been in that relationship at that time. And maybe that's the best piece of advice, is that like, if you don't want to do those things, if you don't want to remove yourself from this situation, if you're like looking for the excuse to fuck somebody else or live out some
then
rock
maybe
and
you
roll
shouldn't
fantasy,
be in a relationship.
just don't do it.
Or you maybe shouldn't be in a monogamous relationship, because there are other options.
Yes,
as we've discussed. Because I feel like, at the end of the day, it's really easy to avoid things when you have conviction, when you've just decided it's not an option. But if you're tinkering with it being an option, then it's always going to be a temptation. And even if you don't act on it, if you're not fully committed to this idea of commitment, then you're going to fucking put yourself in temptation's way.
Sure, and it's a great excuse, It's an easy out.
Yeah.
People want you to do that.
Yes.
That fulfills the idea You know, it's like,
and it is part of the fantasy.
it's part of the fantasy, you know, and it's like that band in a lot of ways, like was all of the cliche things, you know, and yeah. So I think it's a lot easier to not cheat, or it's a lot easier to be in a long distance relationship, touring relationship, whatever you want, whatever scenario, if you want to be in that relationship.
Yes.
And that's a really strong armor that you can wear, because it
Yeah.
isn't always easy.
No, yeah.
You know, but
you're still human at the end of the day, even if you made a decision and have convictions. But I just feel like it's got to be easier. And it's like that's that thing with anything. Like if you want it, you can have it. If you want a good relationship,
Yeah.
then you work for it, whether you're, you know.
yeah, I mean, you work for it, but it also has to be, you know, there's two people in the relationship, and it has to be something that you both want.
Yeah.
And, you know, these are just kind of like basic things, obviously.
Yeah.
But if you both want to be in the relationship and you're committed to doing it, it's not that difficult not to fuck other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like if you want to fuck other people and you want to use an excuse of touring or being in the porn industry, that's pretty easy. And a lot of people will go along with that excuse, you know? So yeah, I think that's part of it. Looking at it now from a different lens, it's like kind of hot to think that, you know, I think about this with Jessica. She works in 2 really successful restaurants, and she's a real power player there. And like, for example, Leonardo DiCaprio came in last night. I don't think we've even talked about this. Leo came in last night, and, you know, and was like real smitten with her.
Oh,
You know?
I am actually not surprised because of her, but just Leonardo DiCaprio doesn't usually fuck with people above the age of 22.
Shots fired.
Shots are fired. But Jessica just has that magic that transcends the ageism of Leonardo DiCaprio.
God, I know. How old is he now? Jesus.
I don't know, but I'm a big fan. I'm
Yeah.
not being salty. Actually, I find him extremely charismatic and talented, and
Shout out Leo.
I've enjoyed most of his work immensely.
Friend of the pod.
A friend of the pod. But
Apparently he's very tall.
Leo thinking she's hot was hot to you.
Yeah, just like her being able to be really in command, really good at what she does, being powerful and engaging with somebody like that who is really sought after, you know,
Yeah.
is a heartthrob.
Yeah.
You know.
Did she say he was hot in person? 'Cause I know he's not like hot really anymore, but like, does he have that like charismatic swag about him? Does he have sex appeal?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I think a lot of what she was doing was like like kind of running interference for other people at the restaurant, and being like, "Yo, you guys cannot go and talk to this guy. Like,
Yeah.
be cool."
Right. Don't
And also
embarrass
for
me.
for guests, like people will just, I mean, this is LA. People will literally just walk up to somebody like mid bite of pasta and be like, "Hey, can I have your autograph?"
Well, he's eating like squid ink.
Yeah, right. Like let the guy eat the squid.
Yeah.
You know?
Let him enjoy a meal. He's still a person.
Getting back on track. Yeah. I mean, advice, want to be in the relationship, be consistent, figure out a way to turn the things that are a negative into a positive. Like, oh, we can't have sex for 3 weeks. Wow, I'm bummed. I want to go fuck somebody else. No, let's flip it around and make it a fantasy. Like, ooh, in 3 weeks, we're going to be in, you know, in Paris in a hotel room. And like, we're going to get to fuck in this strange hotel room and like, turn the room upside down, and like we don't have to clean it up, you know what I mean? Like get crazy.
Jizz everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know somebody else has done that.
Yeah,
Might as well
no,
just
that's
pile
what
on.
hotels are literally for.
Just built of jizz.
To do sex and drugs.
To do
Man, I'm gonna do sex.
I'm gonna do sex. For me, a hotel room is to do sex and order room service and wear a robe.
Long live Meatfoot. That's
That was one of my nicknames on tour because I got drunk and put my foot in a pastrami sandwich. To put it simply.
that's pretty much the cliff
And there
notes
was
of how it
a
happened.
piece hanging on to my
God. And if you got, I'm sure you guys know. I'm sure people know what your feet look like.
Yes.
Yeah. So for listeners who know what Ivy's feet look like, there's it's Jesus and Mary.
Yeah. There's just like some
tattoo?
pastrami
Yeah,
hanging on to their face.
Jesus was he was adorned.
He was
in
adorned with sweet meat.
with the pastrami. Oh my
Oh,
God.
anyway.
Wow.
This has been a really fun conversation, and it's been really fun to have you chat with us because
Yay.
you are a big part of the podcast,
I'm
but
here always.
you know, you're always here, but it was fun to have you on and have a chat. And thank
yay.
you for being so candid. We kind of came up with this
Yeah.
on like the flip of the dime.
I love
And
it.
I feel like it was really fun and informative. And I can relate to a lot of the things you said. And I think that our listeners will really enjoy this. So thanks, Kevin.
Thanks for having me.
And
Now I get to listen to my voice while I edit this podcast.
yeah, you're going to notice all your weird mouth sounds.
Oh, I already noticed them.
So next up, I want to just do a little PSA because I know that the holidays can be a challenging time for myself, and I know that it can be for others. It's not always all family and fun and snow and angels, and it can be really tough. So I just want to give some awareness to this time of the year and give some helpful tips on how to maybe get through what's not always a great time of year. All right, so I just feel like sometimes this time of year makes me feel really alone, and I know I'm not the only one, so I just wanted to chat really briefly about our mental health and how to take care of it, especially during this time where I feel like we feel obligated to be happy and cheerful because of the holidays, and often holidays signify sadness or pain or loss. So some ways to help improve your mental health. Some stuff that I've been trying that I just want to recommend because it's been really helpful for me. One thing is when I wake up in the morning, don't go on my phone immediately and just start scrolling through social media. I don't want to start my day comparing myself to other people's lives or reading upsetting news headlines. So I recommend waking up, making your coffee, whatever you do, and then maybe doing like a 10-minute meditation. So you can just sit with yourself, you have that time, and then you can kind of go about your day. Meditation has really helped with my depression. I suffer from depression. I take medication for my depression. So another thing too is if your depression feels unmanageable, please see a doctor because Wellbutrin has helped me a lot. Another tip is to find these little small things that make you happy and don't neglect them. For example, I notice myself sitting in silence a lot, especially when I'm sad, and music makes me so happy. So I've been exercising, actively putting on music in the morning too, and starting my day. Once I meditate, I still try to stay away from my phone and have music on in the shower, and pick cheerful stuff that puts you in a good mood. And I swear it really can change your whole mood. Also, just be aware of your friends and their vibes and check in on them. It never hurts to reach out and tell someone you care or tell them that you're thinking about them. And I feel like caring about others can also take some attention off yourself. Also, volunteer. I feel like volunteering is a great thing to do because it takes the focus off of us and puts it outward, and helping others and doing kind acts for other people really does give you some satisfaction and a feeling of purpose sometimes. Other than that, exercise daily. Don't get too shitty wasted. And if you do, please don't drive. Either way, just know that you're not alone during this time, and there are people and places and things that you can do and reach out. And I'll include some resources in the show notes of places you might want to go, as far as like a website or a number to call if you're feeling really down, and maybe some suggestions of where you can donate your time. And also an app that I really like, the Calm app, helps me a lot. It has meditations because I'm not a pro, so you can do a guided meditation. And they have incredible ones for anxiety and depression, as well as sleep stories, which a good night's sleep also helps with depression so much, and being sad. And again, it doesn't have to be specifically depression, but this time of year does bring about a sad feeling for a lot of us. So also try the Calm app. And let's try to make these holidays as doable as possible. All right, guys, it is now time for DM of the week. This is a submission from one of our listeners, and it is an interaction she had, I believe, on Tinder. The guy says, "Hey, what's the deal with you? I will have to start charging you rent for sitting in my inbox for all this time and not saying much." In which she responds, how about I charge you for annoying me in mine?" I don't really think it's so bad though. He shot his shot. He was trying to be creative with his execution.
Yeah.
And it was a swing and a miss. Charging rent for sitting in my inbox and not saying anything.
He's trying to be funny.
He was trying to be cute.
Yeah.
A little cheeky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess not all of our DMs have to be terrible, so,
No, it's a lighthearted one.
It's a lighthearted one, but I do like her being sassy as fuck and just being like, how about I charge you for annoying me in mine?
Yeah. The funny thing is that there you go. There's so much context lost, like it just via text. Cause like maybe he was being saucy, maybe she was being saucy too. And it was like, maybe there actually is like a little love connection, but they both are like not getting the context.
Maybe.
Probably not, but.
His picture is like just his lower part of his face with his tongue touching his top lip. So I'm going to assume he's annoying based off that.
Yeah, that seems bad.
Yeah, it's bad. It's not good.
That's a context clue.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, guys, feel free to send us screenshots of your DMs. Just email them to us, slutshamethis@gmail.com. And we will happily read your DMs in this section of the podcast. All right, guys, now it is the time that we share our reviews. Rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts is extremely helpful to the success of this show. So if you want to continue to get this content from us, then please, if you haven't, subscribe, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts. And we love sharing the reviews. We love reading them. They really brighten up our day. So this is one from Murray Merman.
Merman.
The subject is great show, 5 stars. I think your show is great and informative and new. Whoever is snort laughing is adorable. That's me. Thanks and keep going. Wish I knew how to DM you guys. There was no option on Twitter for the show on either of your accounts. I don't know why. I may be a moron. Anyway, thanks. If you want to get in contact with us, just email us, slutshamethis@gmail.com. We did have an Instagram that was open to DM, but we got deleted. So for now, just send us an email, slutshamethis@gmail.com. Also, you can always tweet at us. Just add us and we'll see it. We'll get it in our notifications and we can always get back to you there. That's the awesome thing about Twitter is you can kind of have public conversations. And thank you so much, Murray Merman, for the review and the rating. And thank you for enjoying my snort laugh. It's the gift that keeps giving. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed listening to Kevin describe his experiences. I hope that my PSA was helpful. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Thank you for listening. Good night or good morning or guten Tag or some shit. Good Nacht. Okay. Kevin.